what is a massive game for the Kings 11 Punjab and the Kolkata Knight Riders, with one eye on the playoff spots in hand. The Kings 11 Punjab will be very pleased with the first half. You think of this game. We'll discuss what 149 for 9 means for the Knight Riders on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket Info T20 Timeout powered by Dell. As Tom Moody and Ian Bishop are back in their seats. We'll also chit-chat about big news coming in if you're following Indian cricket, that the big series in Australia, squads for all three formats announced. Quite a few players that featured today getting a few happy call-ups too. So we'll come to that a little later. But let's talk about the game first. Tom, 149 for 9. You take that if you're Punjab, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. But there certainly was a stage very early in the contest that that looked like it was not possible. But you have to take your hat off to the way that I think Morgan led the way with a counter attack, and Shubman Gill just came into his slipstream so perfectly and recovered the situation. But a good comeback then from Kings 11 to keep it to under 150, as you said, you'd take it and run with it.
Yeah, it was a curious T20 game, T20 innings rather. It had its ebbs and flows, almost like an ODI game. The Kings 11 started so well, quick wickets. Then there was that brilliant counter-attacking partnership between Morgan and Shubman Gill. And then you think that, all right, that one of those guys, if he bats late, you're going to get a big score. That did happen. One guy did bat deep in the innings, but the big score didn't come.
Yeah, we saw that with KKR in the previous game as well, where they lost wickets early, and then. But once again, we saw things playing out, didn't we? Tripathi, I've seen him being dismissed like that twice in a row now on the length ball from the Pacers, causing him problems. The matchup with Maxwell and Rana paid off nicely. I was happy to see Shubman Gill kind of get off to a better tempo than he'd been doing in previous games. He was going at a run of ball or less. But today, apart from the fall of wickets which stunted him, I thought he was playing quite nicely. But credit to Kings 11 Punjab and the way they came. Ravi Bishnoi, who Tom spotted very early, is a real trump card, along with Ashwin and Shami and those guys. Brilliant.
Yeah, let's talk about the Kings 11 bowlers. We'll come back to the Shubman Gill innings. You rightly pointed out Mohammad Shami's impact, Tom, and again, continues to get wickets, 3 for 35 today. He's in fact led a bowling attack, which you wouldn't have said pre-tournament is going to cause too many problems in comparison to the rest, or at least with due respect, you wouldn't say it's one of the stronger bowling attacks of the tournament.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. But, Mohammad Shami is climbing that leading wicket takers day by day. And it's just the times that he gets his wickets as well. There he is up to 20, so he's not far behind Rabada, who's just remarkable what he's, continuing to do. But it's the times that Shami gets his wickets, which is so important for the Kings 11. 2 very early wickets. Power play wickets are like gold. And he picked up 2 very quick ones and opened up the game. I just think the rest of the attack have really gained confidence because of his leadership with the ball.
As a fast bowler, Bish, what's it about Mohammad Shami that strikes you the most in terms of impact in a T20 game? At times, we tend to overlook his white ball record. It's phenomenal. He finds his way back into the ODI team, then seems to be the first guy that they want to look at to leave out the minute he goes for runs, which can and does happen for Mohammad Shami. But just in terms of what impresses you of Mohammad Shami, the T20 bowler, what would you say?
Well, first of all, I put it out on social media a couple of times this week, his improvement, because prior to the 2019 season, Mohammad Shami's record in the IPL was terrible. It was atrocious. It was ordinary. But the improvement that he made last year, and then the Yorkers that we've seen him deliver with sustained accuracy this year, we all know that his seam position is one of the best in the game. So once he runs up with the new ball and hits that length, he's quick enough to scare you or to shake you up with the short ball. That package has come together quite beautifully. So it's a message going out to everyone out there. I often hear guys saying, well, it's too late for me to learn to bowl this and to bowl that. Shami is showing you he's not an old man, but he's advanced into his career, that there's always room for improvement and to learn.
All right. Well, let's talk about Shubman Gill's innings. Tom, we know he's a talented player and all of that. Now, I'm trying to understand how you're going to try how to explain today's innings, because one criticism of Shubman Gill has been perhaps going at a strike rate that's a bit low, but he played both games today. You saw him go at 40 of 22 in that partnership with Morgan, and then after that He went, his next 16 or 17 runs have come of the neck of about 20 balls or so. Can you explain that innings?
Yeah, look, it was tricky for him. And I mentioned right at the beginning there that he jumped on the back of Morgan's, intention to come back into the contest just by taking the game on. And Shubman Gill sort of gained confidence and followed Morgan in doing that. So he shows that, he has got the capability to hit the big sixes, even though he does it in a very, very correct and stylish way, which is, it doesn't matter. A six is a six, whether, however you hit it. But I think he suffered after Morgan's dismissal, and then soon after that, Narayan's dismissal. I think he suffered with the concern that they were running out of wickets. So he had to sort of pull his reins in a little bit. So really their opportunity to get into the high hundreds, the 170, 180 plus for KKR really fell when Morgan fell. So, again, I'm a huge Shubman Gill fan, and I think at times he gets unfairly criticised in the tempo that he bats, because I know he's got different gears. But we've got to also recognise he's learning the game. He's understanding, what he's capable of doing, and when he can take that additional risk, and knowing that the team will accept him to take that risk without him worrying about the consequences.
Yeah, I mean, if I could just stretch on Shubman Gill a bit more, and I think that's an interesting point you make. How do you understand what tempo to play at different times in the innings? Now, when Morgan gets out, could you have not told Shubman Gill, yeah, you're on fire, you keep going? But I can totally understand why he's decided to just be a little reserved. The fear of being bowled out for, a 120 or a 130, as it turns out, all you've got is 149. How do you come to that decision of what tempo to bat when you look at the way this innings went, for instance? Tom?
Well, I think that I think that message wasn't given to him. I think he took it upon himself to think, well, I need to bat through the innings now. If I bat through the innings, we'll get above 150. And I think it would have been a very, very risky strategy for Morgan as he was departing, or McCullum to send a message out to Gill to say, look, I want you to take the bowling on, continue to go, because if he did fall, they wouldn't have made 120. And now they've got a total which is a total that they can defend. They've shown already against Sunrisers they can scrap with a lowish total. So they have got a total now. I think the other option was a far higher risk if Gill was to press the button and just take the game on. It was a different situation when Morgan did it early in the innings, because when you're 3 for next to nothing in the power play, you've got nothing to lose. You've got to. There's no point just hobbling to 120, because that's not going to win anything. So then Morgan showed his experience, showed his leadership, and said, right, okay, I'm going to grab this game by the scruff of the neck, and, we can pull this out of the fire, which they did.
All right. If you say you didn't get the message, that's interesting, isn't it? Because 2 strategic timeouts, you think that's what they're for, other than the 2.5 minutes of wonderful commercials that we get to watch on the telly. But if I am to go to one more point before I move on from the Gill innings, Bish, this thing of turning a run down, right? Second ball of the 19th over, he turns a run down of Shami, with Lockie Ferguson actually hitting a few. He was 15 or 16 of 8 at the time, and the batsman gets out the next ball. We've seen it often. Do you understand that? Just turning a run down in a T20 game?
I understand it. No, let me not use the word understand. I accept it sometimes. It's my particular fetish is not for it, but I can see where at times, depending on, let's say, a Pollard is batting with a number 11 of no quality whatsoever, that he wants to retain strikes. So there are times when it works. There are times, though, when I second guess it. But I want to say with Shubman Gill, we love Shubman Gill. Shubman Gill is learning. He's trying to find his way. And this is probably the weakest of his formats, because he's still a technically correct player. But there's no reason why Gill won't go on to be the kind of touch player across formats that we've seen from guys like KL Rahul or Rohit Sharma.
All right. Now, as we approach the second innings, Varun Chakravarti comes at the back of a memorable 5-4 in the last game, he now has the added bonus of knowing that he's going to be part of India's T20I squad in Australia, Tom. Timing is everything for batsmen, but even for Varun Chakravarti, that's not bad timing to get 5 wickets 2 days before the squad's announced. It's a heck of a story for him, though. Didn't play much T20 cricket in the middle of the last 2 IPLs. And here he is now all set to what could be a potential India cap down under.
Yeah, incredible story, isn't it? It really is. You got to take your hat off to him. Look, he's had a good tournament, and it just goes to show that, if you do, get your performances right at the right time and show something special. And let's face it, he is a little bit different. He's unique. It wouldn't happen, I don't think, to someone that was more mainstream style bowler. But because he's a little bit different and unique, I think it's a perfect opportunity for India to expose him in a tour like the one down under, just so they can just see what he's got outside of India and outside of IPL cricket, because we know how valuable those mystery bowlers are.
Yeah, we know that the IPL throws this up almost every year, which doesn't it? A platform for unknown players to then make the Indian team. Does Varun Chakravarti have the ingredients to succeed in Australia?
Time will tell. I think what would hearten him, and we can't say if he'll go on to have a long career. What we do know is that he'll have a career at international level, however long and short, is that on wickets here in the UAE, maybe outside of Sharjah, where the ball hasn't spun significantly. When he got that 5-wicket haul at Abu Dhabi, the ball wasn't spinning a lot. So it sets him up well with his variation of pace, of length, to bowl in places like Australia where it may be similar. He won't get a lot of purchase off the pitch, but he bowls a great length with just enough marginal spin. And remember, he hung in there for Sunil Narine when Sunil Narine was out for a while and did that Sunil Narine job with the pace and minimal turn. So, look, I wish him well. It's a great story, as well as one or two of the other guys.
Yeah, and please stop, please.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that. And in a way, the Sunil Narine issue has really done him a favour, because it's exposed him and put him in the front seat. If Narine was fit and on top of his game, he would have still been sitting in the back seat and maybe not even in the vehicle at all. So Narine's absence was a blessing, and he's taken that opportunity. That's all you can do as a young player. Take the opportunity, and he's run with it.
I almost wanted to say taxi.
Or driven with it.
Okay, before we sign off, even though the second innings is underway, the other wonderful story of that selection, the squad announcement, is 4 uncapped fast bowlers that will travel with the team now. Bish, and I did see your tweet reflecting a little bit of satisfaction to likes of Kartik Tyagi, Kamlesh Nagarkoti, Nataraj, Ishan Portal plays for Kings 11. Part of that squad hasn't got a game yet. But 4 young fast bowlers that have impressed in this IPL, part of the Indian team now. That's not a bad start.
Yeah, that is absolutely phenomenal. Look, Tom knows Kartik Tyagi very well. You would have seen him. You would have seen Nagarkoti at under 19 level, Ishan Portal too. And just on the side, the Natarajan story for me is heartwarming. It's moving, understanding this guy's background, RK, what the IPL has meant to him and his community and family by extension. And now the chance to tour Australia with India, even if it's only as a net bowler. India are doing a great job trying to nurture these fast guys, but Natarajan must be over the moon.
Yeah, it's also a feeling when I look at it as someone who's watched Indian cricket, Tom, you think fast bowlers, they always struggle to find who to take to Australia. Will they still be impactful? I'm quite excited at the prospect of Kartik Tyagi. He's only a net bowler, but they're bowling in Australia, or even a Natarajan bowling in Australia. You get that feeling that there's more to Indian fast bowlers these days?
There absolutely is more to Indian fast bowlers. I tell you, the crop and depth that India have is the envy of world cricket. Yes, at the moment, Australia are in a bit of a sweet spot with more established fast bowlers that they can choose in and out of the test side. But the real depth of fast bowling that India has is quite alarming. And, someone like Tyagi will welcome the opportunity to bowl in Australia, whether it's just the nets or not. He's got a very high action. He's got some genuine pace. He's got the ability to swing the ball. He'll be a more than sufficient net bowler, I can tell you that much.
All right. Now, there are plenty of other stories that have come through this, and I won't waste too much time if Tom's ambitious. Second innings already underway. No Chris Gale, so they've stuck with Mandeep Singh and KL Rahul opening. I'll come back to that. But Rohit Sharma is not part of this squad announcement just yet. We'll keep an eye out on what that means for the Mumbai Indians, because clearly the BCCI want to hold on until they have more info. KL Rahul, at the back of what's already a great IPL, whichever way this ends for Punjab, is back in the test team. Now, in the absence of any red ball cricket in the last year or so, Tom, that one is curious, isn't it? You don't have much cricket to go by if you want to pick form, but you've, I guess, to some degree taken form of the IPL and said, we could put that to use in test cricket in Australia. Thoughts?
They've picked class. He may not have recent form in test cricket, but what they've picked is class. KL Rahul is a class player. He's toured Australia before, so they've selected someone that's got experience down under. Not every player touring a country for the first time gets it right the first time. I'm thrilled that he's got the opportunity, because I feel that he's a three-format player. He, can easily grab Test cricket by the scruff of the neck and have an outstanding career. We know he's got the game. He just needs the confidence in that space.
Vish?
Oh, happy for him. I hope he makes a fist of it. He may have to work on one or two technical things. His off-stump game in the Caribbean, I think it was exploited just a little bit. So it does take an adjustment to go from format to format. But I can't disagree with Tom. Class is class. And when you see something, you're seeing a diamond that needs its edges smoothened. That is KL Rahul. In the same way, it is Sanju Samson. In the same way, we're seeing it with Shubman Gill and Prithvi Shaw and these guys.
All right. Now let's take final comments on this chase. 150. Is this going to be straightforward, Tom?
I think it's going to be straightforward. No.
Yeah.
Put it this way: I'd rather be chasing it than trying to defend it.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, Vish. Something about this doesn't think it's going to be, even though it's sharp, 150. Yeah, you with 8 wickets to spare. Punjab and Kolkata. Jeez.
You nearly made me fall off my chair when you said straightforward. There's nothing about matches between these two teams are straightforward. Look, I'm just going to say, look, I think it's a total as well that Kings 11 Punjab are in with another chance. They can't take it for granted, though, because these two teams create some magic somewhere. But I'm going to back Kings 11.
All right, you're going to back Kings 11. Tom, who are you going to back? Because this is going to be fun at the end of the game either way.
Yeah, no, I think Kings should win it.
Okay, let's pick this chat up in 20 overs or 22 or 24 overs time, depending on how. Thank you to Tom Moody and Ian Bishop. We'll catch post-match analysis and what a massive 2 points for both these two teams. It can't be stated enough. And we'll see how they go after this one. On Whirlpool presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell.